Hello, we're back with another Lick of the Week video, and we're talking about Scruggs essential backup techniques and licks, and we have been for the past few videos. And we've worked out of each chord shape because all of Scruggs backup is chord dependent, which means every lick you learn, even if it's based on a partial chord, well, we all know partial chords are based on the larger chord shape, so you really can't escape the fact that all of your essential backup techniques in Scruggs style are based on chord shapes. So what I've been doing is attempting to show you from position to position, like the number one shape. We've got a couple of licks there, the standard lick and a variation. We've got the standard lick for a two-shape chord plus a couple of nice variations. Now we're working in two-finger backup, which is one way to use a bar chord to play cool and effective backup. Last video I think we just covered the standard lick, and we tried to play the lick in such a way that it filled one measure for practice purposes. Okay, let's take that lick and go a couple of steps beyond that and do two variations. We had two variations for this position in the previous video that we covered. Let's go ahead and use two really commonly heard variations for two-finger backup. And again, all these licks are movable because they're based on chord shapes. That means you can take this two-finger lick and play it anywhere on the neck, all 12 keys, sharps and flats. But let's just use G for the example. Here's variation number one. Instead of always just adding the first string 2 frets higher, in this case for G, the 14th fret, what I'm going to do is slip into the pattern a blues note. The first string at 15 here for G is actually an F note. And an F note, if you add an F note to the other notes of a G chord, you get a G7 chord, G dominant 7. So we're not playing the whole chord here, we're just borrowing a couple notes out to play two-finger backup. But if we do slip this F note in, then we turn the standard lick into a slightly blues flavored idea. So here's variation number one. And again, the right hand pattern will not change. 2 1 2 1 2 1 is all I'm going to be doing. 2 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1. Okay, let's get the old metronome going. Notice what I'm doing is I'm using the ring for the 14th fret, the pinky for the 15th fret, and I have found through the years that's the best way to express this lick, and ergonomically for the left hand it's the easiest to do. I've seen players try to reach up and do odd fingering like this, try to use the middle finger for the 14th fret of the first string, and it just makes you put your wrist in odd places. So if you can get used to using your ring and pinky, you'll be a lot better off further down the road in your development, especially when you're doing reaches up the neck. You can't beat the pinky for doing reaches. It's the most valuable finger you have for reaching higher notes, especially when you're playing licks up the neck. So get used to using that pinky on the first string at 15 here for G, and you'll be a lot better off physically for the left hand. So now that's variation number one. So I'm going to play the standard lick and then slip into doing the blues variation. And again, this can be modified in a bunch of different ways, and you could come up with endless streams of variations. But you really need to learn the standard lick and try to keep it in the confines of one measure, probably for practice purposes for now, and then you can do other things with it as you get better with the lick. So if we count this lick off, the variation, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So it still lasts one measure if we square it enough, if we make it fit into the framework of one measure. Okay, now here's lick number, or variation I should say, of the lick. Number 3, variation number 3. Sorry. Having throat problems this morning. So what I'm going to do is show you another way to vary the standard lick. And this version has you play a chromatic interval, which is just a fancy term for notes that are a half step apart or 1 fret apart on your fingerboard. So instead of raising the value of the first string, going from 14 to 15 to 14 like we did in the first variation, in the second variation we're actually going to drop the note values down on the first string, so they go down in pitch instead of going up. And here you notice I'm going to use my middle finger on the 13th fret of the first string for this G example. So we're going to take the standard lick and add the 14th fret, and then in that pattern we're going to find a logical place to do this. Add the 13th fret. So I'm going to use the ring for this note, the middle finger for the 13th fret. So here's the standard pattern. Here's variation number 1. Now here's the third variation with the chromatic note added. Now again, let's fire up the metronome. And again, I'm going to try to keep this within the confines of a measure for practice purposes, so I'll have a distinct pattern that I'm going to have you memorize so that you can make it fit one measure. And you're only going to be playing 2-1, 2-1, 2-1 through the entire pattern, except for the lead-in note, obviously. 2, 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, 2-1. Same pattern over and over. So there we have 3 distinct licks that are actually based on just one idea. 2-finger backup with 2 variations added gives us 3 pretty nice sounding and really commonly heard licks in Scruggs style backup. So again, try to practice each variation as a measure specific idea, and then see if you can mix the 3 ideas together. Now again, you can play these anywhere on the fingerboard because they're based on a bar chord, and all the Scruggs backup licks are movable that are based on chord shapes because that's just how they work, which is great, which means you don't have to know a bunch of licks. You only need to learn standard versions of licks plus a few variations, and you have a lot of ammunition for playing backup. So the only advice I can give you for the right hand is try using thumb and index or thumb and middle. I've seen some players play 2-finger backup with just these 2 fingers. If that works for you, that's okay, but I seem to get a little more control and I like the tone better if I use the thumb and index finger. But I'll leave that up to you. So for the rest of this video, I'm just going to travel around the neck using 2-finger backup, the standard version, and a couple of variations, and play G, C, and D 2-finger licks as the video trails out. I appreciate it, and I'll see you next video.